Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where the times they are a-changin'. Many years ago, it was guys who drove box office. They either went on their own or their date was happy to let them choose what movie they saw. Kids also drove ticket purchases, dragging mom or the babysitter along. But now it seems women are going to the movies themselves in droves, while men and kids are actually staying home. That's the scary news in a just-released report by the MPAA, which we'll get to momentarily. But let's first focus on the latest exhibit of this new trend, Disney's live-action Cinderella. The fantasy flick defied expectations, opening with $70 million. That means Cate Blanchett, Helena Bonham Carter, and Lily James actually managed to edge out Angelina Jolie, and that's without 3D. Some studios are saying the pick actually opened a tad lower than $70 million, but still, Disney is clearly dealing out some powerful pixie dust these days. Exit polling pegged Cinderella's audience at 77% female on Friday, and then 66% female on Saturday and Sunday. 66% of the audience was also families, and 31% under the age of 12. Non-family adults made up 26% of the audience, while teens were 8% and those over 50, 9%. Clearly, the addition of Frozen Fever made this the perfect princess package. And while Disney has spent quite a bit of money to acquire male viewers with the purchases of Marvel and Lucasfilm, they haven't forgotten about their female demographic either. In fact, on a side note, one can see Disney clearly taking aggressive steps to expand the female fan base for those properties as well. And perhaps the family angle will help keep Cinderella at the box office ball a little longer, whereas other femme-fueled picks like The Fault in Our Stars and 50 Shades of Grey experienced huge drops in their second weekends. But Insurgent will be a significant hurdle for Cinderella this coming weekend, and then there's the bigger question of perhaps women just go to the movies differently than men do. Perhaps the event aspect is as important as the movie itself, so once the event is over, so is interest in the film. That would mean that female-targeted flicks will consistently be front-loaded, yet will open very big, as we've been seeing. And slotting them next to each other will actually keep the momentum going. As in, we had such a fun time seeing Cinderella for a ladies' night out, let's do it again with Insurgent. By the way, this was a great weekend for Disney all around as Big Hero 6 surpassed How to Train Your Dragon 2 to become the highest-grossing animated film of 2014 worldwide, thanks to doing big business in China. Will this lead to more Asian talent on screen going forward? And maybe Disney will make that live-action Mulan they have planned sooner rather than later. Then again, Cinderella also opened in China this weekend with the biggest March opening ever for the country. So maybe China just loves Disney. So as I noted, the MPAA released a report about moviegoing in 2014. Turns out box office was down across the globe by about 3 to 5%, with the exception of China, which grew a staggering 34%. China, China, China. Apparently China is Hollywood's new Marcia. The MPAA also discovered that 32% of all Americans and Canadians didn't see a single movie in theaters in 2014. Not one! While that number has actually been steady for a few years now, it's notable that Hollywood hasn't been able to reach out to those non-moviegoers. But furthermore, while the number of frequent moviegoers has increased, defined as someone who goes to the movies at least once a month, that means there are less people who go to the movies occasionally, or those people go even less than they did in 2013, as moviegoing still decreased from last year. And the age of the frequent moviegoer is also changing. Frequent moviegoers between 18 and 24 hit a 5-year low, while frequent moviegoers between 25 and 39 were also down. But frequent moviegoers in the 40 to 49 and 60-plus age ranges soared. Could movies find their overall audience aging while not attracting the new younger audience, kind of like what happened to comics a while back? On that note, the 2 to 11 age group was also down, with just 2.7 million in 2014 as opposed to 4.3 million in 2013. But then again, there was no Frozen in 2014 or a Despicable Me movie. 3D is also hemorrhaging support, with less and less moviegoers opting to pay for it. And finally, more and more women are going to the movies, seemingly for these events, while the number of men going has remained stagnant. Perhaps part of the problem is that male-centric actors like Liam Neeson keep releasing the same damn movie. However, even here, the audience skewed female. Run All Night might have opened in second place, but it was a distant second, and Neeson's worst debut as a leading man since Taken back in 2009. As for the rest of the box office, Kingsman fans should be delighted to see the spy flick pass the century mark stateside, all while sporting a mere 25% drop in its 5th week of release. The odds of a sequel are looking better and better. Not so for Chappie, though, as the unjustly maligned sci-fi movie fell over 50% in its second weekend. Focus also continued to drop, but the second-best exotic Marigold Hotel cleverly added about 500 theaters, and therefore had just about a 33% drop in its second weekend. Unbelievably, American Sniper managed to pop back up into the top 10 in its 12th week of release, pushing 50 Shades of Grey out of the top 10 in its 5th week of release. Although 50 Shades has actually made more money worldwide than American Sniper, and is the 10th highest grossing film for Universal of all time. That should really add some pressure to get those 50 Shades Darker deals signed, which means E.L. James, Jamie Dornan, and Dakota Johnson will probably all get exactly what they've been demanding as they hold that sequel hostage. And finally, the indie horror film It Follows had a spectacular debut in just 4 theaters, with a 40,000 plus per screen average. That's on par with the debuts for awards contenders, and fantastic news for Maika Monroe, as it gives her a second indie hit after last year's The Guest, which did stellar biz on iTunes and on demand. As for this coming weekend, Insurgent is expected to debut on par with the first movie, Divergent, but perhaps Cinderella will end up being Triss's fairy godmother. And it looks like Sean Penn won't be able to beat out Liam Neeson even on his worst weekend, which again, we just saw. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.